Warning. Warning. Censorship. Warning. Censorship. Warning. Censorship.
Hello, my friends. No time to waste. Ezra Levant here. I think it's got to be one of the busiest days we've ever had. The world is in motion.
Warning.
And, we've got some more warnings coming. I want to warn you, people, we're going to be talking about things. That's a double warning. You've been warned. We will talk about things that we're not allowed to talk about on YouTube. So there may be a point where we move from YouTube to Rumble, Odyssey, and superu.net completely in this live stream. It's incredible. So much news around the world. The big news today in Canada is that it is election day. And the polls between the Liberals and the Conservatives, the two legacy parties, are virtually tied. I follow the polls as much as any political watcher does. And, you know, the Liberals and the Tories have been neck and neck. They're within statistical margin of, look at that. Yeah, within 0.3%. This is I think the CBC's poll tracker. Of course, that doesn't tell you the whole thing because where your vote is spread out matters. You can come in second everywhere and not get a single seat. So according to this poll tracker, they believe that a Liberal minority is quite likely. And it's not to say that a Conservative minority is impossible, but they have ruled out a Conservative minority. What's cooking out there? Everything okay? All right. What's interesting to me is the PPC. Scroll back up for a second. I want to show the PPC. Again, this is sort of a little higher. They're expected to get 0 seats, but look there. This aggregation of all the polls puts them at 7%. Ahead of the Bloc, ahead of the Green Party, both of which were invited to the leaders' debates, but the PPC was not. I think that number is probably low. I think the PPC will actually get more than 7%, and here's why. Thanks, Justin. Number one, because I think the PPC vote is the most enthusiastic vote, the most motivated vote in the country. If you are concerned about vaccine mandates, you are likely very concerned, and you are more likely to go out to vote than someone who's fine with things, passive, submissive, who has surrendered. And of course, the only party that is opposing vaccine mandates and lockdowns is the PPC. Second of all, there's a shyness that manifests itself sometimes when people talk to pollsters about controversial or politically incorrect matters. They sort of know what the right answer is, and they know that their own view is the wrong answer, so they may not quite be candid. So I think that the combination of what I predict is strong People's Party turnout today, plus a shyness when talking to pollsters, it would not surprise me if the PPC number hit 10%. In fact, we saw a couple of polls with them at 10, 11, 12%. That said, I'm skeptical that there will be any one district where the PPC will punch through and win. And that's the heartbreak of it. If you take your party from single digits to, let's say, 10, 11, 12%, but only come in second and third everywhere, and you don't get a single seat, or maybe just one seat in Parliament, how frustrating is that? Now, what's interesting is in these final days and even hours, the federal Conservative Party of Aaron O'Toole is sort of freaking out over that. Because I always contend the people who support the PPC are not necessarily all right-wing conservatives who left the Blue Party. I think the decline in success of the Green Party is partly because of the civil war of that party, partly because their leader, Annamie Paul, is sort of a low-energy candidate, but also because a lot of Greens are health, natural, remedies, don't over-medicate, fitness kind of people who are skeptical of big pharma and big corporations, and they see their party leader is in bed with the other Pfizer candidates, And so I think a lot of Green Party and even some Bloc and even some NDP, those are traditionally the dissenting parties, the dissident parties. I think that the PPC is taking some from each of them. It may well be that most of their votes are coming from the PCs. And that was the grand bargain that Aaron O'Toole thought. He thought, I'm going to alienate a lot of true conservatives, but for every conservative I lose, I'll win at least one Liberal. And in terms of the efficiency of the vote, if the Conservative Party of Canada was winning 60, 70, even in some cases 80% of the votes in Alberta, you could imagine the thinking. This is just the pragmatic thinking. It's not ideological. It's not philosophically consistent. It's simple pragmatics. It's Machiavelli's thinking. If by tacking to the left, this is how the Aaron O'Toole thinks. If by tacking to the left, you lose 30% of the vote in Alberta, so you go from 70 to 40, you're still going to win most of Alberta. You might lose a few seats. But if you pick up 10 seats in Ontario, 20 seats in Ontario, is it worth it? So if you sacrifice 5 seats in Alberta and pick up 10 seats in Ontario, is it worth it? If you sacrifice 5 seats in Alberta and pick up 20 seats or 30 seats in Ontario and Quebec, is it worth it? Well, strictly speaking, mathematically, of course it's worth it. The only question is, are you actually a conservative anymore, or are you just a second Liberal Party? On all the key issues, I think O'Toole and Trudeau are indistinguishable. The only real difference I can point to, is a maturity level. Did you see the new Blackface photo of Justin Trudeau that dropped yesterday? Someone's been hanging on to that for a while. I didn't see it on the CBC. I didn't see it on the front page of any of the newspapers. Is it on the front page of the newspapers today? I haven't looked at a physical copy, so I could have missed it. I see it in the Daily Mail, though. Daily Mail is one of the largest newspapers in the United Kingdom. Can you call up their story? Or even just their tweet is fine. Daily Mail, it's based in London, England. It's got no dog in this hunt. Here, yeah. So you see it says Daily Mail Online. That went up at 9 a.m. this morning. New photo of Justin Trudeau in blackface emerges on eve of Canada's election night. Now, that's not Trudeau as a teenager. I think he was 29 when that happened. And there he is with he sticks his tongue out in so many pictures. He really is childish, doesn't he? I mean, he's like, he has had that same tickle trunk of blackface shoe polish or whatever he uses. And that outfit, he has been doing that shtick in 3 decades. It was his go-to. Now, I noticed that this story has quite a lot of traction in Canada, I imagine, even though it's from a UK newspaper. Now, I'd like you to do something. Can you go to the search bar in the top right there and type /CBC News? /CBC News, and then blackface, space blackface. And then just click return there. And then at the top, can you click latest? So what we've done here, for those unfamiliar with the search engine, is we've searched the entire CBC News Twitter feed and we've sorted it by most recent. And you can see that the most recent story that they've tweeted in which the word blackface appears was 2 years ago, October 2019. Liberal candidate Judy Sgro says she should have known better than to suggest many people, the Liberal leader Justin Trudeau, like him more because he did blackface. Can you imagine that? Like, that's an insane, I like him more. I like him more because he was racially insulting. I like him more. Oh my God. But that's not what I'm trying to point out today. What I'm trying to point out today, that it has been 2 years since the CBC has even uttered the words. Now, can you let's try another news organization. What's the global news? Is it just global news? And then sort by latest. Yeah, so global news, the latest tweet, and you see it has the word latest highlighted. You see that in the top menu? So this shows that the last time global news used the word blackface was February 2020. Okay, try one more. What's another one you want? How about The Star? Is that the Twitter feed, The Star? That's Canada's largest newspaper. Okay, maybe it's, let me just see, what is the Twitter feed? Twitter, Toronto. It's Toronto Star. Okay, thank you. And there it is. Yeah, I forgot what it is. Toronto Star. They too have not talked about blackface at all since February of this year. And then it was about CTV pulls Delta Burke blackface photo in Black History Month package on CTV Throwback. So it was just, they used someone. It was sort of weird. A weird story, nothing to do with Trudeau, right? Okay, thanks very much. I tell you, my friends, we could do this all day, and you might be saying, hang on. I happen to know, you know how many news organizations there are in Canada? Justin, do you know the answer to that? 158? Well, that's what I would have guessed. Until we had that big access to information request about 10 days ago, showing who received that $61 million pre-election payout by Trudeau. There are 29 pages, each with 50 different companies on it. My math is 30 times 50 is 1,500. Now, some of those titles were with the same. But let's just round it down. There are 1,000 media companies in Canada. 1,000 that got the bailout. You know. How come none of them have the story? I'm not saying how come none of them have the scoop. I didn't have the scoop. I didn't have this photo of Trudeau. I don't know where it came from. Okay, so I'm not blaming a journalist for not having the scoop. That's the thing about scoops. Everyone wants to get one. But it's not a scoop anymore because it's out there. I just showed you the Daily Mail has had that story up for 3 hours now, if my recollection of the timestamp is correct. So can you please explain to me why 3 hours after a London, England newspaper breaks the news of Trudeau's another blackface photo in his 20s, he's almost 30. I'm trying to think of what I was doing when I was 29. That would have been, 2000. I'm almost the same age. I'm just 1 year younger than Trudeau. When I was 29, I mean, listen, I have my failures, but he was that tongue out, dress up, racist thing. Trudeau was born in December 1971, so this would have been most likely 2000 or 2001. He was a grown man, and he was still doing blackface, and in public, basically taunting people to say, I dare you to challenge me. I'm the son of Pierre Trudeau. I can do whatever I want. Look at that. That's quite something. So it's that same outfit. He just keeps wearing it. He's got a tickle trunk. You know, my family has a little, I don't want to tell personal stories, but we have a little, it's like a trunk with kids' costumes. You know, you bring it out, didn't everybody? You bring it out on Halloween, or when kids are really young, there's always some costume party or something. So you keep your costumes from, especially if you have more than one kid, they sort of hand-me-downs. So everyone has like a little trunk, everyone. I think a lot of people have like sort of fun costumes that they keep for Halloween. Or they keep for like when their kids are like if your kid's in a school play and he has a costume, you keep it maybe just for sentimental reasons, you just keep it even if you never use it again. That's for children. That's for kids. What was the last time you've worn a costume?
I will say in my mid-20s on Halloween weekend.
Okay, so you wore one for Halloween when you were in your 20s for fun.
Yeah, we go out and party in them.
Okay, you went out and party in them. All right. I'm guessing it wasn't a blackface costume. I'm trying to think You know, I remember when I was in law school, there was some party. It was a dress-up party. One person came dressed up as me. Did I tell you that? Someone at law school dressed up as they thought I looked. I didn't quite get it at first, you know. That's sort of funny to go to a party and someone is dressed up as you. This was in law school. But that's okay. It's a party. It's like a dress-up party. Everyone's dressed up. I don't know. When you're 29, you're not in school anymore. And you go blackface just because that's your go-to move. Incredible. Hey, let's, I want to show two videos regarding the Canadian election. The first is from Quebec. I want to show you a video about the man who's running against Maxime Bernier. And I don't know if we have time to run the whole video. It's 7 minutes long. We'll play a few minutes of it. I encourage you to watch the rest on our website. The Conservative MP who is running against Maxime Bernier again, his name is Richard Lehoux. And he will not debate Maxime Bernier because Bernier is unclean, because he's unvaxxed. Take a look for yourself.
I took the opportunity to ask him my question. Bonjour, Monsieur Lehoux. Excusez-moi de vous déranger. En fait, j'ai une question pour vous. Je me demandais aujourd'hui, je voulais savoir pourquoi vous avez refusé de débattre avec Monsieur Bernier.
Je n'ai pas refusé. J'étais présent au débat.
Oui, je sais. Non, mais vous avez refusé qu'il soit dans la même salle.
Oui.
Mais pourquoi?
Pourquoi? C'est assez simple. Moi, depuis facilement plus d'un mois et demi, je me promène partout sur le territoire. Je suis même allé visiter plusieurs personnes dans des résidences de personnes âgées. Alors moi, je suis doublement vacciné. Les gens autour de moi le sont. C'est sûr que je peux rencontrer des gens qui ne le sont pas, mais je respecte les mesures. J'ai aucunement refusé, en fait, compte de le voyer. Je sais pas ce que tu filmes, là, mais...
Mais je voulais savoir, en fait, est-ce que vous pensez que les non-vaccinés ne devraient pas prendre part à la démocratie, puisqu'il ne faudrait pas que débattent avec les gens qui sont non-vaccinés?
Non, je n'ai pas débattu. J'ai débattu avec, on l'a fait, là. Puis on l'a fait encore ce midi. J'étais à la Chambre de commerce de façon virtuelle avec la Chambre de commerce de Saint-Georges. On a débattu pendant 1h30 ce midi, de 11h30 à midi, à 1h.
Est-ce que vous trouvez ça anormal de ne pas débattre dans la même salle?
Mais quand je regarde, madame, moi, je veux pas qu'on s'obstinera pas longtemps là-dessus. Là. Moi, je respecte les choix des gens. Moi, j'incite les gens à se faire vacciner. Mais ceux qui ne le sont pas, pourquoi que je me pousserais à me coller après eux?
Si vous gagnez le comté, est-ce que vous allez quand même accepter qu'on licencie les gens qui sont non vaccinés? C'est parce que si vous promouvez les gens qui soient...
Nous, en fait, au Parti conservateur, ce qu'on promeut, c'est que les gens se fassent vacciner. On incite les gens à se faire vacciner. On n'a pas parlé d'obligation.
It goes on for a while. I encourage you to watch the whole thing. He was hiding out at the country club there. I give her full marks for tracking him down. Can you imagine that? He wouldn't say where he was. She found him lounging around. That's good sleuthing. That's good shoe leather journalism. That's great. And he's quite blunt about it. He says, yeah, I'm not going to hang out with unvaccinated people. They're dirty. I don't want to get cooties. If that's what you're saying about Maxime Bernier, former MP, former cabinet minister, leader of a national political party, someone who you were expected to debate in an election, if you won't even be in the same room as him, could you imagine how he would treat you? Just little old you. I think that's one of the most shocking videos we have recorded in this entire campaign. Our friend David Menzies, I just talked to David on the phone. I actually haven't seen this yet. David went to an Aaron O'Toole event, and they ordered him to stand on the road. They said, you get off the sidewalk because, I don't know, because you're unclean, because you're a rebel. I don't quite know. Let's watch a bit of this. I actually haven't seen this video yet. I just talked to David on the phone about it before and after. Take a look.
They've moved the bus around the building, and Aaron O'Toole is still not coming out. I mean, I pose no harm to him unless you could consider, I don't know, insensitive, impolite questions as harmful things. But he's got to come out of this bus sometime or another, right? So we'll be right here.
You disrupt our events. Like, we're not gonna do this.
Give me a definition of disruption.
What you're doing right now. So I'm asking.
I want to ask questions of
I'm
Aaron
asking you to
O'Toole.
leave.
Okay.
Your outlet, and you also continually disrupt our events. So I'm asking you to leave.
Isn't it funny? My outlet, 13 months ago, Aaron O'Toole had nothing but time for us.
I'm gonna ask you to
No,
leave.
wait a minute. Excuse me.
but we're not
What
doing-
changed?
we're not doing the
What
debate.
changed? No, I'm not debating. I'm asking a question. What changed with Aaron
On the
O'Toole?
sidewalk over there.
Does Aaron O'Toole regret moving the party further left, stiffing Rebel News, stiffing Jordan
we're
Peterson?
gonna
Does he,
ask-
Corey?
We're gonna ask that you leave.
Okay.
You disrupt the events. So you're welcome to the sidewalk across the street.
I've
but
just been standing here. How is
we
that
have an
disruptive?
event- We have an event to start, and I'm asking you to leave.
And Aaron O'Toole is too cowardly to come out of a bus.
I'm happy to walk with you.
This man wants to be prime minister.
Yeah. On Monday he will be. So I'm asking you to leave.
Oh, really? Okay, then there should be nothing of concern then.
Leave the property.
This is public property, the berm.
If you have the blueprint to show me,
Do you have the blueprint?
this is what we've been told is the property to the curb.
Who told you that, Corey?
We have the event manager. They own this.
Public property, correct?
Certainly the road is. I'm
Okay.
told to the curb, and I'd be careful there. There's a car coming.
Corey, for the record, I think you're pathetic. You are, just like Andrew Scheer, you are snubbing 1.5 million YouTube subscribers who are presumably right of center, and you can't even give me an answer. And you can't even answer why 13 months ago, Aaron O'Toole had nothing but time for us, and now we're persona non grata. Why is that, sir?
Disrupt our events, David.
I disrupt the events by asking questions?
By disrupting the events.
All right, well, you see, folks, we can't. How did Alexa Lavoie disrupt an event? You frog.
So we're gonna go. Are you gonna come with me, or do I have to get someone to help us out?
I'm not like a criminal.
I'm
I'm
not-
not
no
like a
one's calling
person
you
who
a criminal.
disrupt. You disrupt your own event.
one's calling
You
you a
came
criminal.
here
Let's-
to disturb me. I will stay here. I'm actually will stay here.
The sidewalk. You're welcome to the sidewalk.
Yeah, but I want you to say
There is-
that is not
there is
true
no-
what you're saying.
No.
We are not disrupting
We're
any
outside here.
event.
We're outside. That disrupts events. She's part of your outlet that disrupts our events.
I don't even know what that means. So impolite, insensitive questions is considered disruptive?
Disrupting the run of our event.
I'm disrupting the run of our event. Well, I think Aaron O'Toole's doing that. He's not even getting out of the bus. He's almost half an hour late for his own event. Hey, Corey, why is Jordan Peterson persona non grata? I don't think he's disrupted any events, or has he? Well, he's a half hour late for his own event, and now the bus continues to move. I don't know where. I'll just walk along here. I don't know who this guy is, but he's got handcuffs on him. So here we have it, folks. The bus is now at its third destination in front of the mainstream media. Aaron O'Toole reaches out to them now. Mr. O'Toole! Mr. O'Toole, do you regret stiffing Rebel News and Jordan Peterson? Mr. O'Toole, why are you bringing the party further left? Mr. O'Toole, do you regret your strategy given the current polls? Mr. O'Toole, why won't you take our questions? Mr. O'Toole, why did you throw Lisa Robinson under the bus in a smear campaign by Liberals? Mr. O'Toole, do you regret stiffing us and stiffing Jordan Peterson? Well, there he goes. Well, folks, there you have it. I tried to ask Conservative leader Aaron O'Toole, I almost called him Andrew Scheer, Freudian slip, I suppose, some questions. As you saw, I did not interrupt his speech. There was someone else interrupting the speech. I think it was on autism issues. The wonderful Corey Hahn here didn't eject him. Funny that. I guess there's a different policy if you are not a Rebel News reporter. And I can't help but think of the perverse irony of the Aaron O'Toole bus. We have a photograph of a couple of loons. Yeah, this campaign sure has been loony, and my goodness gracious, look at the color of the bus. It's not Tory blue, it is PPC purple. Is that a subliminal message here that if you really want someone that subscribes to conservative values, you support the ex-conservative Maxime Bernier as the leader of the People's Party of Canada, who is trending incredibly well in the polls, whereas it looks like, with the recent numbers, Aaron O'Toole, despite a disastrous campaign by Justin Trudeau, is ready to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Well, you know what? These are indeed the questions I wanted to ask Aaron O'Toole. He had all the time in the world for us 13 months ago at the parliamentary press debate.
Great video by David, and you saw that they basically frog march out any Rebel reporter and they say, you're disrupting. Asking questions in the campaign is not considered disruption, at least not in the plain meaning of those words. But the reason that worries me is not because we need Aaron O'Toole to talk to us. I think it could well be said that he needs us to cover him, especially given that he sagged in the polls in the last week. He peaked too soon, as they say. No, what worries me is not that we need to talk to Aaron O'Toole. He really doesn't have anything interesting to say. He speaks in that political duck speak. Can you pull up that tweet of him and his whole family wearing masks for some selfie? And I just thought, you had COVID and you recovered from it, so you have natural immunity. Plus you took the 2 vaccine shots. Your whole family is vaxxed. You live together in the same house. Why are you wearing masks? I loved having the family join me in the campaign. Thank you, everyone, for standing by my side as we work hard to secure the future for all Canadian families, pets included. Okay, you live together? Surely you don't wear masks around your own house. Please tell me that. Double vax plus recovering from the virus. I think that is a pretty good distillation of who Aaron O'Toole is. A man of conventional wisdom, a man of the establishment, a man who will not color outside the lines, will not dissent, and will not oppose. And should he become Prime Minister, which seems quite unlikely at this time, really what difference would there be between him and Trudeau, other than this guy doesn't dress in blackface? Well, speaking of Trudeau, do you have that clip that Efron cut of Trudeau basically saying that the vaccine passport doesn't have anything to do with health? It's reward and punishment. Take a look at this.
We're paying for the provincial vaccine passports to make sure that when someone comes into a restaurant, they'll know they won't be sitting beside a table of people who are unvaccinated. When you go into a gym, when you go to a movie theater, you need to know that if you've done the right things, you get to be safe. You get to be rewarded for having done the right things. That's what it's all about. And those people who still hesitate, who still resist, well, they won't get to enjoy the same things that those who've done their part for others. It seems like a very logical thing. It seems like a very obvious thing.
I disagree for a few reasons. And here I have to choose my language correctly or it will be knocked off the YouTube page. The vaccine passport itself, as a public health measure, has never been tested before. There's been no experiments. We don't know if it works at all. But what we do know from every authority, including St. Fauci, is that if you're vaccinated, you can still get the virus, you can still get sick from the virus, and you can still pass on the virus to others. In fact, Chris Rock, who's double vaxxed, got sick, and he said, "Get vaxxed, everybody." You don't want, can you call it that Chris Rock tweet? I like Chris Rock. I think he's pretty funny. But nothing's as funny as having the vax twice, getting sick, and saying, "Hey, everybody, better get vaxxed." Didn't you just get vaxxed and get sick? And are you like, "Hey, guys, I just found out I have COVID. Trust me, you don't want this." Chris Rock tweeted Sunday, "Get vaccinated." That's the headline in USA Today. What's not in the headline is that he himself was double vaxxed. So Trudeau says the vaccine passport will keep you safe. I don't know, it didn't keep Chris Rock safe. You will be rewarded by having a normal life. Well, that's the thing. The freedom to move around, the freedom to talk to other people, to think your own thoughts, to decide on your own medical procedures, that's not a reward. That's your natural right. The government does not award you that or reward you with that. That's not the government's place. And I love that line, the vaccine passport shows that you've done your part for others. I thought the vaccine was to protect us ourselves. How does my vaccine, how is it necessary for your vaccine to work, unless they don't quite work? Can you go to my Twitter feed? I tweeted something from the Times of Israel about, I mean, and the reason I tweet Israel, because they are the most vaxxed country in the world by some measures. They're well into their 4th dose, if you can bloody well believe it. And yet, there are enough doctors and scientists. I mean, they're a grand laboratory experiment, which makes me uncomfortable. Hey, let's take half the surviving Jews 2 generations after the Holocaust, and let's just make them human guinea pigs for the largest vaccine experiment in world history. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? I just tweeted, I think this morning, it's from the Times of Israel. I could find it and send it to you. A new study there shows just how much longer and better natural immunity is compared to, I'm just finding it here. I'm sorry to do this in real time. It's from this morning. I'm sorry, I can't find it. If you want to grab it, and thank you very much. All right, I tweet so much. I just anyhow, I'll put that aside. We'll come back to that later. I don't want to take up people's time while I look for. Oh, you got it? Here, let's take a look. Thanks, Justin. You're faster than me. I just wanted to mention it. Here we go. So this is from the Times of Israel. Study, COVID recovery gave Israelis longer lasting Delta defense than vaccines. The variant was 27 times more likely to break through Pfizer protection from January to February and cause symptoms than it was to penetrate natural immunity from the same period. That pretty much explains it all, doesn't it? Thanks for finding that. Sorry it took me a while to mention that. So what Trudeau said about the vaccine passport keeping you safe and doing your part for others, do you trust Justin Trudeau with anything, let alone with science, let alone with your own bodily integrity? Justin Trudeau, as you know, has pre-ordered, and I'm sure he won't release the terms of the contract, but I think this is why. He's prepaid for 400 million booster shots. There are only 38 million Canadians. So every man, woman, and baby has been signed up by Trudeau for 10 shots. 10. So it's not a vaccine passport. Yeah, there we go. Canada's ordered more than 400 million COVID-19 vaccine shots. So the first thing I think anyone would say is, well, there's only 38 million of us. Why did you order 400 million, boss? Well, the answer is because you're getting 10 of them. Is there another explanation? And listen to Dan Andrews, perhaps the worst politician in the world. He's the premier of the Australian state of Victoria, whose largest city is Melbourne. And here he is, he's making it clear. You're going to have to keep updating with the latest booster, sort of like a corporate loyalty program, like Aeroplan or Air Miles or whatever your favorite loyalty program is, Shoppers Drug Mart points. Just got to keep updating it. Unlike those loyalty programs, you don't get rewards. It's punishment driven. Here's Dan Andrews, who is just 1 degree more malicious and 1 degree smarter than Justin Trudeau. Take a look.
These sorts of passports are designed to do exactly that. They won't be there forever. I can't say, as I stand here right now, how long it'll be on, how long it'll be a feature of things. But, arguably, it won't be a vaccine passport you'll be showing in the first half of next year. It'll be your booster passport to show that you've been to have your 3rd jab and that you've still got the protection that comes from either AstraZeneca, Moderna, or Pfizer.
So this is permanent, in case you didn't realize. I'm going to take a second and read some of the super chats. Rebel Rant from Paul Oda Newman. Hey, Ezra, do you think that O'Toole would try to form any kind of coalition to oust Trudeau from the PMO? How likely do you think that could be? Also, if he loses, do you think O'Toole resigns? Okay, those are great questions. Thank you. I think that the NDP and the Bloc Québécois would be far more likely to form a coalition with Trudeau than with O'Toole. And I think they will do so. And I think with the NDP, it's already a done deal. That's just my guess. How likely do you think that could be? I think not likely at all. Although, in terms of ideology, really, what's the difference? If he loses, you think O'Toole resigns? Well, O'Toole will lose, but I predict that he will actually gain a few seats from last time. There was a moment there where it looked like he would win a minority. I think he's going to maybe increase his seat count by 5. And I don't think he'll be thrown overboard. Now, that's if that happens. But if the PPC surprises people, gets 10, 11%, and if that is drawn from the Conservative Party vote and that causes the Conservatives to tumble down, then I think that O'Toole is in some jeopardy. I think that his mishandling of true Conservatives, populist Conservatives, and the PPC is a big issue. I showed you how rude Corey Hahn was towards Alexa Lavoie and David Menzies, and it's not some rogue staffer. Corey Hahn is a senior staffer, and that is the view from the leader's office on down. I mean, you saw that literally Aaron O'Toole was hiding in his tour bus rather than engaging from us. Richard Lahoud was hiding in a country club rather than engaging with us. He seriously won't even go in the same room as Maxime Bernier. So maybe. I mean, the great experiment that Aaron O'Toole had was, if I move the party to the left enough so we're indistinguishable from the Liberals, can we win? And I think the answer is no. The question is, how bad is it? I mean, there's still a chance he wins. I don't think there's a chance he's going to win a majority. There's a teeny chance he'll win a minority. No chance he'll win a majority. Tiny chance he'll win a minority government. But most likely it's a Trudeau minority. We'll just see what it is. I mean, I just think that the PPC vote is likely more motivated than anyone's. Rebel Rant, excuse me. Joyful from the heart. Ezra, I applied to be a scrutineer for the People's Party but received no response. I thought they had enough, perhaps, but today I received another email from the PPC asking for scrutineers. Puzzling. Yeah, listen, a new party is going to be disorganized. All parties are disorganized, the newer ones more. Hyperchat from Rebecca Henderson. When the word rewarded is used by the government, you know punishment is always hiding behind it. I don't want rewards from the government. I want my freedoms to be protected. Exactly, and your freedom is not the government's to gift or take away. Rebel Rant, again, from Joyful from the Heart. Ezra, I may be mistaken, but I have not seen the wives of the party leaders accompanying their husbands on the campaign trail. Do you have any thoughts on that? Well, I saw Aaron O'Toole's wife with him on one occasion. As you may know, Justin Trudeau is separated from his wife, Sophie, but she did make an appearance on the first day of the campaign and has been out of sight ever since then. I think they're basically waiting for him to be done before divorcing, sort of like Pierre Trudeau and Margaret Trudeau. I have not seen Jagmeet Singh's wife on the campaign trail. I don't think she's been on. I have not seen Annamie Paul's husband, and I don't know what Blanchette's wife looks like, if he's even married. So yeah, it's not a lot of family appearances from any party. Hyperchat from former YouTube watcher. Pfizer is saying that the shot has been tested and works on 5 to 11-year-olds, and now they want to start giving them the shot. Yeah, I'm really worried about that. Can you tweet that? I tweeted something from the University of Ottawa. You know, the healthiest people in the world are young men. Let me correct that. The healthiest people in the world are young male athletes. If they eat healthy, if they're working out all the time, if they're exercising, if they're in a team, I think we'll be okay. Or you know what? Let's say goodbye to YouTube. I'm sorry to do it, but I'd like to invite everybody watching on YouTube now, and I know there's 1,200 of you. Can you please switch over to one of our other platforms? Because what I'm going to talk about, YouTube will probably cancel our channel for. So I always hate to tell people to log off. We have over 1,200 people watching on YouTube right now. But can you do me a favor? Because I want to talk to you in a manner that YouTube censors will probably not approve of. And I just don't want to nuke the whole channel over it. So we're on 3 other platforms. Go to rumble.com, and it's easy to find us there. We're also on Odyssey, ODYSEE.com. And we're on superu.net. That's super and then the letter u.net. So I still see there's 1,256 people watching on YouTube. I'm very sorry. I don't mean to abandon you, and I'm not. It's just that if I say what I'm about to say, YouTube's probably going to shut down our channel. So come over to Rumble, Odyssey.com, or superu.net right now, because we're going to say goodbye to our YouTube people. Because, not that we don't love you, it's just that the censors there will probably spike our channel. So see you on those other platforms. I'm just gonna wait a second. I see some folks migrating over. Thanks very much. And I'm sorry to put you through that hassle.